What's up, everybody? Week 10 in the NFL kicked off on Thursday night. That one took me a bit by surprise. I did not think Carolina would be able to pull that off, but it is the NFL this year, so shouldn't be too surprised at all. Let me get this out of the way. The four games I'm really going to be putting money on this week are probably the Titans, Raiders, Steelers, and Dolphins. I'll put a little bit on the Eagles. That 11 kind of scares me a little. I hate the double-digit spreads, but we'll see what I pick in the end of this video. Started off Detroit Lions 2-6, +3 on the road to face the Chicago Bears, also 3-6, 3-point home favorites, over under 48.5 in this one. The underdogs 4-1 against spread. Lions are 1-4-1 against spread in Chicago. Under 7-3 the last 10 times these two have played in Chicago. Detroit's 1-7 straight up in Chicago. Lions are 0-7 straight up their last 7 on the road. Detroit are 6-0 against spread versus the NFC North, however, their last 6. Bears are 3-7 straight up at home. Chicago are 1-6 against spread versus the NFC North. Justin Fields set the single-game rushing record by a QB with 178 yards on the ground last week. 14 carries he did that on. Are the Bears finally coaching to Fields' abilities instead of trying to make Fields fit into their playmaking calls or what they want to run on offense? Because I think that's the biggest difference between good and bad coaches is the good coaches either have the ability to combine finding the players that fit the style of play they want, or the ability to change their coaching style to fit and get the most out of the players that they have. And I think Bill Belichick did that for years, even though it drove me a little crazy being an Eagles fan and Spygate and that other bullshit, but it is what it is. Brady and Belichick were phenomenal pairing together. Best of all time when it comes to coach QB duel of my lifetime anyways, and I go back to the 70s. Lions surrender the third most rushing yards to opposing QBs. Amon St. Brown, Ross St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, those are two key things for Detroit in this one. I've been flipping back and forth on this all year. Detroit allows 5 yards per rush, 28th in the league. Bears average 5.4 yards per rush on offense, second most in the league. I'm going to roll with the Bears as small home point favorites. 3, I think it hits the number. I think this game is probably going to be a push. Could be in for a shootout the way Chicago's offense has played lately. I may lean to the over in this game as well. Jacksonville at Kansas City. Chiefs are 9.5-point home favorites. Over-under set at 50.5 on this one. Jags are 1-5 against spread the last 6 meetings. Fave is 4-1 against the spread. Road team is 5-2 against spread. Jacksonville are 1-5 straight up and against spread their last 6 overall. Jags are 1-5 against spread their last 6 versus KC and 0-5 straight up versus the Chiefs. Jacksonville are 1-4 straight up in Kansas City. Jags are 5-15 straight up versus the AFC West. Kansas City are 2-5 against spread their last 7 overall. Chiefs are 16-4 straight up their last 20 overall. Kansas City is 0-5 against spread at home their last 5 overall. Mahomes is 15-19 against spread in his career at home. Mahomes is 3-8 against spread his last 11 home games. Chiefs have won 10 straight games played in November. KC has won 14 straight December games. Look for that next month. That's huge number. Jacksonville are 0-20 straight up when the temperature at kickoff is 55 degrees or less, and the expected kickoff at temperature in this one is 40 degrees. I believe in that. Let me double check. Yep, 40 degrees at kickoff, and that is the U.S. temperature. Travis Etienne, he is the key to this game, staying close. If he's able to dominate on the ground and eat up a lot of clock for Jacksonville, they could stay within this 9.5. This is like just under that double digits. This number scares me a little bit. I lean Kansas City. I think they got the weapons. I think they are the much better team in this game, and I don't see them slipping up after a close home with the Titans and narrowly escaping with 3 chances at the 2-point conversion before Mahomes finally got it in there to tie the game up and send it into overtime where they won. Wow, man. I don't know. I think they're going to have their foot on the gas this entire game. Jacksonville, I don't trust them at all. they're just not a very good team at all, in my opinion. That cold weather stat, that is a big factor to me, especially when a lot of their players, not only do they play in Jacksonville, but look at where their players went to college. Did they also go to college in warm weather schools? Were they born in warm weather cities or states or countries around the world or wherever they may have come from? LA Chargers, 7.5-point road dogs in San Fran to face the 49ers. Chargers are still without Williams at wide receiver. They're missing both their wide receivers still. Keenan Allen's out as well, I believe, which is huge. The Niners are starting to get healthy in this one. Added Christian McCaffrey at the trade deadline, over under 45.5. Road team is 4-1 against spread. Over is hit in 4 of the last 5 meetings. Chargers are 4-1 against spread versus San Fran. LA is 5-0 straight up in San Francisco. Chargers are 4-1 against spread their last 5 road games. San Fran are 14-6 against spread their last 20 overall, and 13-7 straight up. Niners are 6-1 against spread at home. The under is 7-2 on Sunday Night Football this year, and 36-23-2 on Sunday Night Football the past 4 years. Deebo Samuel, what's his status? I believe he's playing, but I'm not positive on that. Austin Eckler has 10 TDs in the Chargers' last 5 games. Could be sprinkling a little bit on his prop as an anytime TD, maybe even a first TD of the game. Sprinkle one on each team. Who's going to get it for each one? Garoppolo is 17-5 against spread as a dog, and 17-19-1 against spread as a favorite. The Niners are big favorites in this one with the hook. Kyle Shanahan is 11-17 against spread as a favorite of 3.5 points or more. Chargers allow 5.7 yards per rush and just lost their best run-stopping D lineman, Austin Johnson. Wow, man. This is a big spread. Chargers have seemed to have dominated this series. I definitely don't think the Chargers are winning this game. I just don't know that the Niners cover. I think this is a 7-point win for San Fran. So I'm going to pick the Chargers to cover, San Fran to win, and this number will probably go over the total. Cleveland Browns, 3.5-point dogs in Miami to face the Dolphins. Over under 48.5 in this one. Browns are 6-1-1 against spread their last 8 versus Miami. Underdog is 3-1-1 against spread their last 5. Road team is 3-1-1 against spread their last 5 meetings as well. Cleveland are 5-2 straight up their last 7 versus the Dolphins. Browns are 1-6 straight up on the road. Miami is 1-5 against spread their last 6 overall. Fins are 14-4 straight up their last 18 overall. Dolphins are 9-1 straight up their last 10 home games. Tyreek Hill has 4 games with at least 150 receiving yards this year already. Nick Chubb has 22 runs of 10-plus yards when teams put at least 7 men in the box, 8 men or 9 men in the box. That's what he's breaking off runs. The only person better than that is Derrick Henry, who I believe has 25 of those runs this year. Browns are a one-dimensional team. Will they be able to keep pace with Miami right now, especially the way the Dolphins' offense is rolling with all the weapons? Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, they added Wilson Jr. I think he could have a huge game as well. Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert, they could both have decent games this week. I don't expect them to really go off because I think the passing game and the receivers are going to be there, but I could be making quite a few prop bets in this game. Browns defense allows 11.96 yards per reception, tied for 4th most in the NFL. That doesn't bode well when you're facing this explosive offense. I really don't like laying this 3.5, but I think the Dolphins win this one, and this one could be a 10-point victory, something like that. I'll pick the Dolphins, something like 30-20 over the Browns. Seattle, the early morning game in Germany. First time the NFL has played in Germany. Tampa Bay is listed as the home team. 2.5-point favorites. 44.5 is the over-under. Seattle's 1-4 against spread their last 5 versus Tampa. 2-4 straight up their last 6 in Tampa Bay. Unders 4-1 the last 5 meetings in Tampa, but that's kind of irrelevant since they're in Germany. Hawks are 5-1 straight up against spread their last 6 overall. Seattle's 5-13-2 against spread versus the NFC South. Bucks are 2-5 straight up, 0-6-1 against spread their last 7 overall. Tampa's 0-5-1 against spread their last 6 games at home, but does Germany really count as a home game? I'm not sure. Kenneth Walker has 7 TDs in his last 5 games. Clearly trying to make a push for Rookie of the Year candidate, especially with the injury to Breece Hall of the New York Jets. Excuse me, sorry about that. Seattle has won 4 games by double digits already this year. I believe that's the most in the NFL. Shows you why I don't like laying double digits, regardless who the teams are. Tampa have surrendered 9 rushes of 20-plus yards this year. Walker has ran for 20-plus yards 5 times this season and has 2 50-plus yard rushes already this year as well. Seattle can lock in the over total. The over on the Seattle's win total this season was 5.5. If they win in Sunday morning in Germany, they'll have already cashed those tickets for anyone who might have put money on them. I don't believe I did. I hope I did. I don't remember, to be honest, but I really doubt I touched Seattle's win total in any way, shape, form, or fashion over under it. Tampa loss would guarantee they go under their win total. They were projected at 11.5, if I remember right. I forgot to write their prop down, but I believe it was 11.5. Yeah, do the math. It would have been 11.5, because if they lose tomorrow, they're guaranteed to max out at 11 wins, which would guarantee the under in that one. I don't know what to make of this game. The line opened at 4.5. I don't know what to do in this. I think Seattle's the better team. They've been playing better this year. They're a surprise team. But Brady, how do you bet against Tom Brady, especially Tampa's getting healthier? I'm going to believe that Tom Brady can get the win, become the first QB to win in 4 different countries, and they'll win by a field goal in the end. Somehow Brady will be able to do some Brady shit and pull this one off. Next up, a game I'm really looking forward to in some ways. Dallas 4-point road favorites in Green Bay to face the struggling Packers. Over-under set at 43 on this one. Underdog is 4-0 against spread. Road team is 4-0 against spread. Dallas is 1-4 against spread their last 5 versus Green Bay. The under is 5-1 the last 6 meetings in Green Bay. Packers are 8-2 straight up and 7-3 against spread their last 10 versus the Cowboys. Green Bay are 1-5 against spread their last 6 overall, though, and 0-5 straight up their last 5 overall. Dallas is 6-1 straight up against spread their last 7 games. Cowboys are 1-8 straight up in Green Bay. Dallas are 10-2 against spread their last 12 overall on the road. Boys are 2-8 straight up their last 10 games played in November. Not a good stat on that one. Packers are 16-4 straight up their last 20 home games. Aaron Jones was in a walking boot after that game last week. That does not sound nice. Pass rusher Rashawn Gary, also Green Bay's sack leader. How many does he have? 6 sacks, leading the team this year. He reportedly tore his ACL. I forgot to confirm whether that was torn or not. Regardless, he won't be playing this week. Packers D allows 138.6 rushing yards per game. Man, Zeke and Pollard, I'm going to be hammering their prop bets tomorrow. That is for sure. Green Bay, Mike McCarthy, this is another one. Green Bay said his defense was too stoic or static, not creative enough. They used multitude of words to describe how bad his offensive play calling was. I think he'll be looking to blow Green Bay out, and I think Green Bay and Rodgers might have a little something in there, depending on how much distaste Aaron Rodgers had for Mike McCarthy, or whether they actually got along. I really don't remember the answer to that. All I heard was rumors, so I'll just leave it as that. Dallas D has 4+ sacks in 4 straight games. I think that streak's going to end tomorrow. They will not get 5 games with 4 straight sacks. Although Micah Parsons is kind of hard with him prowling on the defense. DeMarcus Lawrence, and man, you can name so many fucking Dallas defensive players. That defensive unit is so much fucking fun to watch. Even as an Eagles fan, I do enjoy any team that plays solid defense, so you can throw San Francisco in there. I love the physical play of the whole AFC North with the way the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, the Steelers all go at each other, man. I love watching that good, hard-hitting, nose-grinding, grind it out, good defensive style sort of games and teams. Rodgers' 7 interceptions this year are the most he's tossed in a season since 2016. Alan Lazard has scored in 9 of the Packers' last 12 games, and he should be in this one. I think Green Bay does enough to keep this close. I think this game is going to be Dallas gets a scare. They're going to be taking their foot off the... I don't know. I don't know what to make of this game, tell you the truth, but I think that's going to be Dallas wins it for sure. I just can't decide whether they blow them out like 35 to fucking 10 and just embarrass the Green Bay Packers, or whether they win it by a field goal because the record in Lambeau isn't so hot, and neither is their November streak. So I'm going to lean to the home underdog in this one. I think the Cowboys win this one. I'll say by a field goal, but I really can't decide whether it's going to be 35 to 10 or like 27-24 or 2017. So I won't be putting my money on this one other than the props, where I will be hammering Pollard's over on most of his rushing props, rushing, receiving, rushing milestones. Anytime TD score, I'll put on there as well, and a couple other things quite possibly. Indianapolis Colts +6 in Las Vegas to face the 2-6 Raiders, 6-point home favorites, over under 42.5 on this one. Road team is 4-0 against spread. The over is 4-1 the last 5 meetings, and 4-10 when these two play in Vegas. Colts are 3-8 against spread their last 11 overall, and 2-4 straight up their last 6. Indy are 4-9 against spread their last 13 versus the Raiders, and are 6-3 straight up versus Vegas. Raiders are 3-6 against spread their last 9 overall, and 2-7 straight up. Vegas are 4-1 against spread their last 5 games at home. Raiders are 2-6 straight up versus the AFC South. And the Raiders have been one of the bigger disappointments of the season, in my opinion. But the Colts, they're a mess. Their O-line is playing poor. Wentz out, Ryan in, Ryan out, Sam Ehlinger in, fire OC, who didn't even make the fucking calls, didn't even call the offensive plays, but whatever. Fire their head coach, hire former center Jeff Saturday, and what was he, ESPN analyst? I know he's an analyst anyways. He's their new head coach, who has a grand, 2 years of high school coaching experience. Jonathan Taylor's hurt and questionable for this one. Colts, who's going to call the plays? The 30-year-old offensive coordinator with no experience, or Jeff Saturday, a former center for the Colts who is loved in that city. Ehlinger has been sacked on 17.5% of his dropbacks. Matt Ryan was getting sacked only 7.5% of his dropbacks, and he can't even fucking move. What the fuck? Like, how is Ehlinger getting sacked more than that? Raiders' Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow are on the IR list. Colts offense, the last 3 games, 10 points, 16 points, and 3 points. So their offense has been absolutely dreadful. Indy is the only team this season that ranks in the bottom 5 in pass rush win rate, where they rank 29th with a 36.2%, and pass block win rate 49.7%, which ranks them 30th. If the Raiders don't win this one, they got to fire and trade a lot of fucking people to get this fixed, because this is totally unacceptable when you have the players that they do. Derek Carr, Devontae Allen, Josh Jacobs. Are you fucking kidding me? The Raiders should win and cover this game, and if they lose it, my money was on the right side, at least by what my eyes and everything has told me so far this year, because the Colts are a fucking train wreck and a half. Minnesota 7-1 record, 6.5-point dogs in Buffalo to face the Bills. Josh Allen will play tomorrow, over under 43.5. But like, that elbow injury, that's what, when it completely tears, that's where baseball players, pitchers especially, that's where you have Tommy John surgery. How safe is this gamble for Buffalo Bills? If you're a Bills fan, I'm curious to know, do you want the Bills to risk Josh Allen going out there and further injuring it? Or would you rather sit him for a couple weeks, maybe not secure the number 1 seed in the AFC if you have to take a hit for a couple weeks, even though, Casey Keenum, like, he could come in, he's a reliable backup quarterback. I get all that. And your team's so strong and well-rounded outside of running back and your ground game, with the exception of Josh Allen. But, like, man, I don't know if I'd be risking this with Josh Allen. I'd rather maybe surrender, and might not even surrender the number 1 seed if you sit Allen for a few weeks to let him get better. But man, I don't know what I want to risk with Josh Allen. Like, that's risky. But anyways, curious, any Bills fans that do see this, what you guys think. Bills numbers, they have been inflated all year because the public's jumping all over them no matter what, because they are Super Bowl favorites, and I totally get that. I don't disagree with that, but I think the numbers have been set about 3 points more than they should be for every single fucking Bills game this year because of their preseason hype. And, well, honestly, they have played well, with the hiccup of against the Jets last week being an exception, in my opinion. And they did lose to the Dolphins, but what are you really going to do about that one? Miami plays so good with Tua in the lineup. Allen has accounted for 53.4% of Buffalo's rushing first downs. 50% of Allen's runs have been for a first down. That's the highest rate in the NFL. Many have won 6 straight one-score games, so they're used to being in tight affairs. Allen accounts for 82% of the Bills' yardage and 92% of their TDs. Devin Singletary has 79 carries and 0 touchdowns this year. Man, it's hard to bet against the Bills, but if they're running Josh Allen out there, this injury scares me. I'm going to pick the Bills to win a tight one. Minnesota's 6-game win streak ends. They're not as good as Buffalo. They're going to find the same fate that they did when they played Philadelphia earlier this year, but Allen's injury scares me for that Buffalo to cover and win like 24-10, 24-7, something like that. That's too risky in my opinion. I will take the 6.5 with Minnesota and say the Bills win somewhere within that 3 to 5 point range. And that's only because of Josh Allen. If he goes out there and bombs, I'm not going to be surprised. Don't hate on me. I just think it's too risky for the Bills to put him out there with the situation it is, because you don't, even if that's partially torn, you don't want it to completely tear, get hit the wrong way. I don't know, my opinion, that's why I'm going to be on the points, but definitely the Bills on the money line. There's no question about that. I don't think they're losing to Minnesota. All right, on to the next one. Arizona, 1.5 point road dogs in LA to face the Rams. Over under 41.5 on this one. Favorite is 10-2-1 against spread. Road team is 12-4-1 against spread. Cards are 1-4-1 against spread. Their last 6 in LA. Arizona are 3-12-1 against spread. Their last 16 versus the Rams. LA are 9-1 straight up and 8-1-1 against spread their last 10 games versus the Cards. Arizona are 5-10 against spread their last 15 overall. Cards are 1-4 straight up their last 5 overall and 1-5 against spread their last 6 overall. Arizona are 1-11 straight up their last 12 versus the Rams. Cards are 0-6 against spread versus the NFC West. Arizona's 10-4 against spread their last 14 on the road. Rams are 2-7-1 against spread their last 10 games overall. LA are 1-5 against spread their last 6 games at home. Rams are 4-1 straight up at home versus the Cardinals. Murray and Kingsbury are 1-7 straight up and 1-6-1 against spread versus the Rams under Sean McVay. Cooper Kupp has 6 of the Rams' 8 passing TDs this year. Only 8 fucking passing TDs. Are you kidding me? Defending champs. Super Bowl hangover, or is this like beyond that now? Stafford in concussion protocol. You could actually have both QB backup quarterbacks playing for each team in this one, making this one even harder to predict. That's why the line's basically a pick 'em at 1.5. Arizona's interior offensive line are all out injured. That is not a good thing. Rams have been outscored by 61 points in the fourth quarters this year, worst in the league, and have 8 fourth quarter turnovers, also last in the NFL. I don't know. I'm just going to lean the home team in this one. I think the Rams will do enough to squeak this out, but it wouldn't surprise me either way, especially if both backup QBs play. That is way too hard for me to pick. New Orleans, it's not hard for me to pick, it's just hard for me to lay my actual fucking money on with all that bullshit surrounding those two teams. New Orleans, minus 1.5 in Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. TJ Watt is back, and I think he has multiple sacks in this game. Over-under set at 40. Over is 4-1 their last 5 meetings. Saints are 3-6 against spread their last 9 overall, and 2-6 straight up their last 8. New Orleans are 4-1 straight up versus Pittsburgh. Saints are 4-3 against spread their last 17 versus the AFC North. New Orleans are 13 talk again. New Orleans are 13-6 straight up their last 19 games on the road. Steelers are 2-4 against spread their last 6 and 1-6 straight up their last 7 overall. Pittsburgh are 6-0 against spread versus the NFC South. Steelers D has allowed 300 plus yards in every game so far this year. I think with TJ Watt back, that streak ends. New Orleans does not reach 300 plus yards in this game this weekend. Saints D can't stop the run. Kenyon Drake looked like an all-fucking pro last week versus them. Mike Tomlin is 14-4-2 against spread as a home underdog and 13-7 straight up. This is my upset game of the week. I like the Steelers to win this game outright. So, obviously, I like them to cover the spread. I think it's a low-scoring affair. I think it's something like 17-14, 20-17, 13-10, whatever. The Steelers do enough to win on the ground. Denver, plus 2.5 in Tennessee to face the Titans. Titans, 2.5-point home favorites. The over-under set at a measly 36.5 in this one. That's all because Denver's offense is absolutely putrid. Home team is 4-0 against spread. Denver 7-1 against spread their last 8 versus Tennessee. Broncos are 4-8 against spread in their last 12 overall. Denver are 1-6 straight up their last 7 on the road and are 5-11 straight up their last 16 in Tennessee. Titans have covered the number in 6 straight games. Tennessee are 6-2 against spread versus the AFC West. Titans are 5-0 against spread versus teams with losing records this year. Titans average 22 pass attempts per game. Teams know it's all about Derrick Henry, and they still can't fucking stop him. They stack the fucking box all the fucking time. They still can't fucking stop him. I hear Ryan Tannehill is going to play this weekend. Titans receivers had 0 catches last week. 0 fucking catches by their wide receivers last week. And Kansas City needed 3 attempts at a 2-point conversion to send the game into overtime before finally beating them. Tennessee is for real. I love Tennessee. I love this game. I'm all over Tennessee again this week. I like them to win and cover this spread. I think they win by a touchdown. Somewhere between 4 and 7. Maybe not quite a touchdown. 4 to 7 points. I like them to get the win. I'll be all over Derrick Henry props in that game too. Houston won. +5, on the road in New York to face the G-Men. Over under 40.5 in this one. Underdog is 4-1 against spread. Giants have beat the Texans in 4 straight. Houston are 1-6 straight up their last 7 overall. Texans are 1-4 straight up their last 5 versus New York. Houston are 1-4 straight up on the road. Giants are 4-1 straight up and against spread their last 5 overall. Both teams play at an extremely slow pace. I believe they're the 2 slowest pace playing teams on offense in the NFL this year. A lot of runs with a lot of time in between plays, a lot of time chewed up on the play clock in between each play. They will run it down to the end, so look for a lot of Saquon Barkley, a lot of Dameon Pierce in this one. Xavier McKinney, how unfortunate is that? I don't know how I feel about that situation. He's on vacation on their bye week and has a ATV accident where he fucks up a couple of his fingers, so he is out. Texans ranked 29th in total offense and 30th in total defense. That bodes much better for the Giants. Houston's run D ranks last in run defense, DVOA. Texans have allowed a league-high 47 runs of 10-plus yards this year. Texans allow 180.6 rushing yards per game this year. That is ranked 32nd. Giants average 161 rushing yards per game. Saquon, man, I'm going to be all over this guy this weekend. Barkley has 70-plus rushing yards in 7 of 8 games this year that he has played with the Giants. I don't know. I think the Giants win this game, but do they cover the spread? Houston's a pesky team who seems to find a way, especially with Dameon Pierce, especially with these 2 slow-paced teams. I am all over the dog on the spread, but all over the G-Men to win this game. I don't think Houston can do enough to win, but you never know. They could upset them. I don't think they will, though. Washington, final game of the week. 11-point dogs in Philly to face the unbeaten Fly Eagles Fly. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles, baby. 11-point home favorites, over under 44 on this one. Eagles are 9-2 straight up their last 11 versus Washington. Underdogs 3-1-1 against spread. Home teams 3-1-1 against spread. Washington is 1-3-1 against spread their last 5 in Philly. Philly's 7-3-1 against spread their last 11 versus the Commanders. Over 6-2 when these two play in Philly their last 8. Washington are 1-4 straight up in Philly and 1-6 straight up versus the NFC North their last 7, and 5 1-4 straight up in Philly their last 5, and 1-6 straight up versus the NFC East their last 7. We'll just redo that whole thing. Eagles are 5-2 against spread their last 7 overall. Philly averages 28.1 points per game on offense and allows 16.9 points per game on defense. What does that number equate to? 11 point spread in this one. What a surprise. Commander's secondary has been having issues, to say the least. More passing this week, much like when Philly beat these guys in week 1. What was it? Like a touchdown with a minute 56 remaining? No, whatever it was anyways. The Eagles' D leads the league in turnover rate at 22%. Scoring drives against Philly averaged 10.24 plays per drive, the highest in the NFL. Washington's D ranks last in turnover rate, 4.2%. Hurts had 5 passes of 20-plus yards versus Washington in the Week 3 win. Devontae, he had his huge game in Week 3, 169 yards and a TD. The Eagles are the first team since the 1972 Steelers to win the turnover battle in each of their first 8 games, and I don't expect that to be any different this week. Hurts has 850 pass yards, 102 rush yards, and 8 total TDs in 3 career games versus Washington. I think the Eagles win this one. I think they see double digits. Even when it's my favorite team, I don't like laying double digits. 11 points. I'm probably going to tease this one down to 9.5 on the spread. I'm going to stay away from the spread. I love the Eagles to win this, and the only way to play the money line is the same game parlay it with something else. I'll parlay it with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, probably both to go over the receiving totals. Maybe an anytime TD in this one as well. And I might look for, I don't know what else in this game, but definitely Quez Watkins. I might put a little sprinkle on Quez Watkins for an anytime TD and to go over his receiving yards, because you know, if he gets a reception, it's going to be a 30 to 50 yard reception. It's not going to be a little fucking 5-10 yard dink and dunk play. And his prop is probably going to be sitting somewhere around between 5 and 15 in the props. I imagine somewhere around 7.5 would be my guess. But Quez Watkins, he's the one I'm going to be looking to parlay maybe as well. But look for the passing plays in this game instead of Philly's ground game to get going, because Washington's secondary's too beat up. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles absolutely blow them out, something like 24-7 again. But just like the Dallas Packers game, I don't know what to make of that spread. I think it's a little too high. I'm leaning Washington on the spread and the Eagles definitely to win the game. But I think they win it by like 7-10. Although it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was like 35-3 either, much like Dallas Green Bay. Neither outcome would surprise me, but I think the Eagles will win by more than a field goal, like I predicted Dallas would in that game. Anyways, that's it for my Week 10 picks. Like I say every week, I'm only going to be betting on like 4 or 5 games, 4 to 6 games, 3 to 6 games each week. I'll be looking for a lot of in-game betting with those other games, especially if I really like a team and they fall behind early, but I still like them to come back and win, or just cover and get the spread at a little better value in that game. So look for all those things when you're betting. Good luck. Stick with your gut no matter what anybody, including myself, tells you. I just throw the stats out there. I give you my opinion, and you can take the stats and do with them as you wish, as most people do. Good luck. Like, share, retweet my shit. Any of you bookies or sports books or sports sites out there want to start getting in on something, or anybody at all want to start getting in on some sponsorship deals, shit like that, help each other out, or you just want to flat out give me a bankroll or pay me and we work together, I collab and I start adding you guys and tagging you and everything, or whatever the deal we come up with works out to be. Good luck. Peace.